we'll have to calculate that. We can get your contact information. I think there's a card here, actually.
Right, we're going to pass out some cards here.
If we can get that, we'll email you the answer.
I think the basis that we had here was 5.5%, is what was shown on the slide, was current interest.
Yeah, with 5.5%, Mr. Nolan, we have to pay 40%, 40 cents in interest for every 60 we got to spend in child water. That's why we killed the bond issue. That 5.5% is a lot. I mean, when you do that kind of financing, sir, it's not 5%. It looks like it at the top, and then you do the paperwork.
And I think in speaking to that, when you update the facilities, those are big dollars.
It's called compound interest.
They're very large dollars. Just like if you own a home and you finance a home for a 30-year mortgage, you pay a substantial amount of interest. That's reality.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's why I wanted to find out exactly, because that's a large fee.
So anyone that owns a home and financed a home in this room, you pay a tremendous amount of interest when you do that. In the school buildings, that's the exact same scenario we're putting in front of you today.
You were speaking about the cost of educating a student, you know, like you were saying that Wright Elementary was the most expensive at this point. You were quoting around 4,000. I suppose that means 4,000 per school year per student.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in your opinion, what is the ideal that you would like to achieve? How much do you think is probably prudent and you know, economical but reasonable amount per student per year?
That's a very good question. That's why we're trying to move as many of our schools to about 650 students as possible, because not only is that an educationally strong model, because you have full-time support for the students all year round, full-time principal, full-time counselor, full-time nurse, but we also get, it's the lowest cost per student. It's about $4,000 per student if we can get to that number.
You feel that would be the ideal?
That's the ideal. It helps us run a much more efficient.
4,000 per student per year.
Yes, sir.
Is there a possibility of breaking the bond package into separate parts and having sort of a la carte packages that you can vote yea or nay?
Yeah.
Piecemeal?
I can speak to that. And once we call the bond and how it's structured, you know, as we call the bond tomorrow, the group that we were a part of did a lot of research into the structure of bonds, how we can get the bond passed, how we can make this a bond for the entire community. And we were advised by financial advisors that do this across the state of Texas that it's beneficial to have it as a whole. That once you start doing it a la carte, you start getting a factor in your community of who wants what. And really, at the end of the day, we want the bond for the entire school, for every piece that's involved, because it is every campus. We wanted to touch every campus 4 times. You know, there were hot button issues we looked at. We took a lot of the community poll and surveying information. There were some issues we pulled out of the bond that we couldn't get behind and couldn't get comfortable with. But at the end of the day, we felt like bringing the bond as a whole made the most sense and had the best success rate.
What percentage of our enrollment is comprised of illegals?
You know, we'll have to get that for you. I don't think it's very many, quite honestly.
I'm going to answer that Thursday.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Other places in Texas where I've been before, there were a lot, but I don't think we have any, but we can get that. If you'll write your information down, we'll find out.
Dr. Darcy? Okay, let's take one more question, and then as soon as we get that question, they pass around cards. Certainly, if you have a question, write that down and get that information, and you'll get a response. Email. I think your email address is there to get your response back. Last question.
Made a good one.
One of the things you brought up with the middle school renovation to be determined later. How am I supposed to vote for something when I don't know where the money's going? What it's going to help, which school it's going to be at, or even if it's going to do anything.
Right, what we're going to look at, and you know, we've kicked around several ideas, but the bottom line is we're going to take the one that's in the worst shape. And you look at, if we could choose just about any one of them.
All of our middle schools need major work. It's unfortunate we're only going to be able to do one.
No, we can only afford to do one in this bond. We want to get the first. If we could do them all, we do them all, because they all need it. And the one that has the worst facility condition index, based on what the architects and engineers tell us, will be the one we do.
Could we get the amount per student of the schools you're anticipating closing? You've got those flashed up there for the cost now of these. For the ones you're anticipating to close, could you give us the cost per student of those?
Yes, we can. We have it for all four of those schools. You're talking about Isles, Wheatley, Murphy, Haynes,
Yes.
those four? Yes. I'd have to look up the numbers for, but I have them here with me. I can give them to you just a little bit.
And one thing-
5,000 per
Right.
student.
You know, one thing, they were higher, but the overall piece, something we go back to on that is the annual cost savings we're accomplishing by doing away with the deferred maintenance on those schools as
Yes,
well
so
as
you're
the
adding
annual update.
interest on that, which just
Sure.
basically does away with all the savings you might have.
Well,
Or
yeah.
then some, probably.
not for.
Well, the buildings are paid for in a very short amount of time. So you have newer buildings that run more efficiently over the lifespan of that building versus the older buildings that we have.
Exactly.
Can I ask a question? I'll just make statements. I would be inclined to kind of go along with your program because it seems to be compatible with what I want to do. I'm concerned about neighborhoods in the central city hollowing out and schools stabilize neighborhoods. But there's one other thing that I would like to see. I would like to see the city and LISD recognize that they both have the same problem. When neighborhoods go, schools go. When schools go, neighborhoods go. And with the help of John Frullo, Charles Perry, Jim Lathrop, Bob Duncan, to get something where we can get off this dollar for dollar match, to let us do some pilot programs in the city of Lubbock, to see if we cannot attract people back into these neighborhoods. I would like to see that along with this.
Yes, sir.